Yeah, I feel that. So I think everyone else is kind of in that mindset, which I think great time more now than ever than to let's look back a little bit. So before we look back, always good. Before we look ahead, sorry, always good to look back. So for you, maybe name two artists who you think had the biggest wins of 2021.
Biggest wins. So I did think about this. And for them, I couldn't, the ones I'm thinking of, I couldn't really quantify it just because I didn't dig into the numbers. I more so wanted to just take a moment and yeah, and have whoever comes to mind come to mind and be the answer. The first one was Jack Harlow.
That's a good one. That's a really good one.
Yeah, I don't know if he necessarily like had the biggest numbers year over year or anything, but I think just in my mind, like as a brand and a person who's respected within the industry, I feel like 2020 he was kind of like this new white kid that with the single, and everyone's like, oh, he's a one-hit wonder, like he's pretty good, but he's just like copying Drake or whatever.
Yeah, and the pandemic kind of slowed him down a little bit too.
Yeah, that for sure. Cause I was supposed to go to one of his shows.
Yeah, exactly.
It got canceled.
Yeah,
I was so fucking pissed. That shit's probably like $100 now.
Yeah,
but 100%. It was like $20 at the time. Well, I guess 100's not that much more, but yeah, he's like a whole new brand. I feel like he's leveled up to a point where like you're like, okay, this kid's gonna be here for a long ass fucking time. And he did like the huge feature with Lil Nas X. He did a song with like Pooh Shiesty and a bunch of other people. So now it's kind of like DaBaby when DaBaby popped off and he was like on every fucking body song. I feel like that's where Jack Harlow is now. Besides him though, this one was a tough one. I was trying to think of like who could compete with him at that level, or like who like leveled up quite a bit. And I'd probably say, I don't know, I feel like in a way Lil Nas X also became a huge voice, and I think a lot of it had to do with the shock value of like his music videos and stuff like that. But his debut album released, I believe it was his debut, and he was just part of the conversation constantly. And a lot of it was negative, but it was also negativity coming from like the super conservative Christians or like super homophobic rappers. It wasn't, as far as I could tell, like the average person. I don't think the average person gave two fucks about a lot of the stuff he was saying or doing, but I think
so I would say to the Lil Nas X point, I think it's a great one. Those are two great albums, but I wasn't thinking about those are two really good ones. But the Lil Nas X one, it's not that he became more part of the conversation, like from a hip hop standpoint, because I don't think anyone when you think about hip hop thinks about him. To be perfectly honest, like I mean, maybe just me thinking that, but I do think he became part of the conversation as pop culture. But then you also realize that you actually do like his music. You know what I mean? It wasn't just shock value to do shock. Like you're like, oh fuck, like if that song comes in my Uber ride, like I'm fine with it. You know what I mean? Or if I hear that song on like every fucking commercial, which it is, like I'm good with it. You know what I mean? So it's not like he's like this weird rapper who like just happens to be gay and like wants attention. I'm sure that's part of it. But at the end of the day, the music also is decent. Like I've never been like, this song is trash. Like, you know, like Montero was enjoyable. The one with Jack Harlow was a banger. You know what I mean? Like, so like he's a good artist. You know what I mean? Like again, I don't care for the show, but if that's the demographic he's going for, I'm fine with it because at the end of the day, I also enjoy the music. So, you know, good friend.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with that, and I feel like both of them, I mean, they kind of go hand in hand because I think they're like genuine friends and shit outside of the music industry. But I feel like both of them, for a variety of different reasons, just became much bigger faces. And I constantly would see, because I'm on YouTube all the time, I don't think I was influenced necessarily by it completely, but there was so many videos just made about these two guys, and I'm like, they clearly have like made their name within the industry.
Yeah, dude, I totally agree with that, man. It's a great fucking point there. For me, man, it's my two. I'm gonna go with one being Nas. So I think Nas was a big winner in 2021 because his follow-up to King's Disease proved that with the right production, Nas really needs to be in your conversation for top 10 rappers of all time. You know what I mean? Like, I feel there was always like this blemish on his resume. Like, yeah, you came out with 2 banger albums, but like after that, like what happened to you? And I think it's just clear, like we've been saying, like back in the day with like Pop Smoke and his like producer, like once you have that synergy with a producer, like amazing things can happen. I feel like you're seeing that synergy with him and Hit Boy. I mean, honestly, Hit Boy with anybody right now, bro, like is a banger. But no, I think Nas still in my mind dropped the best album of the year. And to say that it's pretty wild considering who dropped this year. So I would say 1, Nas, just for the simple fact that, like, yo, that motherfucker is relevant on a different level now. So huge kudos to him. And then number 2, honestly, I would say Kanye, bro. Because, like, the album grew on a lot of people. We started to respect him for, again, taking risks, right? Like, doing shit that no one has ever done before. The rollout was crazy with these fucking, like, crazy-ass venues, listening parties. And then, dude, like, on Drink Champs, like, you kind of just started, like, all right, man, like, you're kind of crazy, but, like, you're also a human being who has, like, gets petty, and, like, he came off way more likable after that 4 hours of content than ever before, dude. You know what I mean? Like, and at some point when he had those random IG or Twitter rants, you're like, bro, like, relax, bro. You're too rich to fucking really be caring about shit like this. But, like, in that setting, in that environment, after the album, you're like, all right, man, like, I don't really believe I would ever get that way, but I can believe you got that way, which is kind of weird, right? So, like, I would say Kanye, again, to say a fucking billionaire won is, like, kind of stupid, but I do think he won because, like, the year, because, like, bro, like, I think he became more likable. Like people remember he's human, and, like, he can be mad at you on a Monday, but kind of apologize to you by Thursday, and that's just his deal. Like, it is what it is, right? So, I think Kanye and Nas had a great year, because I think Nas reminded everyone, I'm turning 50, but probably one of the best guys out right now. And then Kanye just reminded everyone, like, dude, he's a fucking genius, but he's also human. But he's just, because I think for a while, like, people just didn't like him, dog. Like, we were mad at him for doing the Christian thing, which in hindsight sounds fucking awful. And then, we were just mad at him for a bunch of things. Whereas now we're like, bro, like, just do you, bro. Like, I'm good with it.
Yeah, I'm really glad you brought those 2 up, because they were, like, on my radar as, I guess, nominees or potential picks or whatever. And now that I think about it, another, like, theme I kept seeing was that Kanye had the best interview anyone's ever seen in, like, the whole year, and all kinds of stuff. And for the first time, I felt like people were humanizing him. They realized he's a billionaire with a lot of shit going on, and he's not that crazy, or not that much different than you and I, let's say, minus the money. We're not billionaires yet, but I think they definitely leveled up in ways that other artists hadn't, which is interesting because they're already fucking high up.
Dude, I was thinking that when you, like, I love that you mentioned artists who went from, like, almost unknown, not unknown, but, like, you could, the jump was drastic, but then, like, it's, like, almost to, like, Drake's point of, like, you were saying about the Grammys thing, like, the Grammy kind of, like, just puts the icing on the cake for you. Like, it's nice to see artists that are at this insane level can still be motivated to put out dope content, right? Because they don't have to, bro. Like, Kanye doesn't have to give us Donda and take risks. Like, he doesn't have to. Nas doesn't have to come out with a follow-up to a already great album that kind of already proved this, and then he fucking doubled down and did it again. Like, that's insane. So for those 2 artists to do that at their level, at their age, is pretty crazy.
Yeah, super impressive.
Yeah. So shout out to them. But those are great. Those 4 are definitely great